76 Passport 1721, taxi via Juliet and go to the holding South Channel 06.
Hello everybody, I am Captain Gilbert Kibe, the Director General of Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, and I would like to welcome you to this exercise that we're going to do today. It's the launch of the search and rescue software for our Rescue Coordination Center at Jomo Kenyatta Airport. So join me and welcome. Kenya is a signatory and member of the United Nations. We are also a member of the International Civil Aviation Organization, or Kcaa. Under Article 25 of the Kcaa Convention on Aviation, Kenya has a state responsibility of making it possible to assist aircraft in case of an emergency, in an instance, for instance, an accident or an incident. We have a state responsibility to be able to help out. And one of the mandates of Kcaa under the Air Navigation Service Provider role is the provision of search and rescue services in Kenya, and therefore we have created under the Kcaa the Rescue Coordination Center.
Our main job is to look for lost aircraft. First, when aircraft are in flight, they are supposed to routinely report their positions. If they miss to report a position and it is determined by air traffic controllers that the aircraft could be missing, they inform search and rescue immediately.
Aeronautical search and rescue services in Kenya have been structured in a manner to facilitate identification of aircraft and vessels in distress, and following their identification of location, search and rescue missions are undertaken in a timely manner with an objective to saving lives. At the heart of this structure is the regulations, specifically the Aeronautical Regulation 2018 for search and rescue that were published and provides for the structure. At the high level, we have the ministry responsible for aviation that accommodates the committee, which is a joint committee for search and rescue with the responsibility to develop policy to guide search and rescue services in Kenya. Under the Rescue Coordination Center, we have Category 1 sub-centers and Category 2. Category 1 sub-centers are within the airports that are manned by Kcaa, where we are providing air navigation services. This is not by chance, but control units at these airports are the last point of contact with aircrafts which are in distress or which report incidences. As such, they are our Category 1 sub-centers, followed by Category 2 sub-centers, which are agencies.
And very importantly, we have the Kenya Defense Forces. We have the National Police Service, Kenya Wildlife Service. We have the Kenya Maritime Authority as well, because we're also dealing with maritime search and rescue incidents. And we also have the National Disaster Operations Center and the National Disaster Management Unit, among others, including the Kenya Airports Authority.
Basically, the regulation provides a high-level requirements that search and rescue services should be based on. They address 4 key elements. Element number 1 is how search and rescue should be organized in Kenya. Number 2 is the governing of the cooperation and coordination between the agencies involved in search and rescue within Kenya, as well as other agencies out of Kenya, especially the neighboring states that we have to jointly coordinate search and rescue with. Number 3 the regulations governs the activities that search and rescue should engage in. The agency for search and rescue, which is the Air Navigation Services, should engage in. These activities are either for purpose of preparing to conduct an effective search and rescue by taking a proactive approach, for example, conducting a drill for search and rescue like the one we did last year, which was the first one in Kenya and actually in the entire African region. Also, the high-level requirements for the rescue mission that is undertaken during a real-time operation. And finally, the regulations also address procedures for purpose of promoting uniformity, because you realize in a search and rescue situation, we have the parties involved in search and rescue and we have the party being rescued. As such, there should be an understanding of what each of the party is expecting.
The Search and Rescue Coordination Center is based at Jomo Kenyatta Airport. It is an office where you have trained officers who are capable of coordinating and arranging search and rescue exercise of any aeroplane that is in distress in this country. So whereas before it used to be a part-time office, today it's manned 24/7. And then that is what brings us to where we are now. As the Rescue Coordination Center, we have received new equipment, more advanced equipment, and we have a search and rescue software package that we are launching today at our Rescue Coordination Center.
The system, which is one of the first in the region, is linked to the COSPA's search and rescue satellite-aided tracking technology, such that an aircraft that has declared itself is in distress, we are able to identify it within minimal time of declaration of this distress. In the event of an accident, we are able to project possible areas where such an accident may happen, hence take a proactive approach into the search.
You know, each aircraft has what is known as an emergency locator transmitter, ELT. So when there's an impact, for instance in an accident, it triggers the ELT, it goes on automatically, and via satellite, Kcaa is able to pick up the exact location of that aircraft at our Rescue Coordination Center, and then we mobilize all the forces to go to that particular spot where the accident has happened.
The integrated search and rescue system has two bits, the Prisma RCC and the SAMAP. This is the Prisma RCC, and once a beacon arrives here, it starts giving us a beep that you can hear, so that on the display it will be there on the Prisma RCC, and then once it comes, you click on the beacon, it will show you exactly where it is. And once you pick the actual location, you are able to work on ground and you see what is there. For example, it could show you that it is in Jomo Kenyatta, and then exact location in Jomo Kenyatta. There are two ways that this beacon is relayed to an RCC like ours. One way is what is called site-to-site connection, and this is where the Mission Control Center relays the beacon alerts through the VPN. Once it's on your system, then you pick it and continue working on it. For example, what we have on the system right now is a personal locator beacon. You can see what type of beacon, the user class, where is it from, where is it registered, the altitude, the ID, when it came on, and the country of registration for that beacon. The SAMAP also gives you an array of tools, including live weather updates, so that you see what is happening where you wanted, or where the beacon seems to be giving a signal. Once you have assigned everything, then you transfer your information to SAMAP, and SAMAP helps you now plan so that you can develop a plan of how the rescue will be undertaken.
and it adds the capability of identifying and tracking the search and rescue assets. I'm able to log in and indicate that my asset is called so and so, the capabilities are this, and the area it is going is this.
But as you know, in aviation, multiple redundancies are very, very important. So we get it through the site-to-site connection, we also get it through emails. When an email comes, you can pick the details from the email. It will come with the same details, where it is, and it will tell you what type of beacon it is, whether it's an ELT, a PLB or something, and then where the coordinates, the position, what type of satellite picked it. Therefore, we have it on both ways. Prisma RCC allows you to pull in other softwares to carry out quick independent actions. For example, you have received the coordinates of an alert where it is coming from, then you want to quickly check what is on ground. Is it at an airport? Because at an airport there is a lot of maintenance, so that you can quickly rule out whether there is an accident. So you will pull the coordinates, put it on a software, for example, the Google Earth Pro quickly, and be able to see what is on ground, which also the Prisma RCC is able to do. So that function is very, very important to a search mission coordinator for quick action, so that in a flick of a second, you know what is happening and where it is happening.
Once I locate the area and I know the aircraft, I now start my preliminary inquiries. If the aircraft is known to us, you go straight to the owner of the aircraft. We have an aircraft register with us here and online. If the owner says that they are not in contact with the pilot, then we go to the details of the flight. If the flight was from Nairobi to maybe Garissa and the signal is coming from Kitui, most likely the aircraft has come down. If it flew, it never contacted air traffic control, we go straight to start planning for a search and rescue. So these are the coordinates we picked, we searched, and it gave us that location near Lake Turkana.
Search and rescue training is provided locally at our institution, the East African School of Aviation, and the training is provided for participants from within the country and also from around the region, and it normally comprises of air traffic controllers and pilots from various organizations such as the disciplined forces, the police, the Kenya Wildlife Services, and also personnel from marine agencies around the region. The training normally has two fundamental parts, one of which is the Search and Rescue Mission Coordination. And the Search and Rescue Mission Coordination provides the officers with skills to be able to organize, plan, and also to coordinate search and rescue services. And the most important one is to coordinate. How are you going to coordinate with these other search and rescue organizations that we have around the country?
We did a national search and rescue exercise in December of last year. The aim of that exercise was to determine our level of preparedness in case of an emergency. It's something that we had been doing previously on a desktop basis to say, yes, if an accident happened, this is what we would do. But in this case, we used a very animated, real-like kind of a situation where we got an actual aeroplane that was not in use, we placed it somewhere, we triggered an ELT, the signal got to our rescue coordination center, and then we're able to mobilize all the search and rescue forces, including Kenya Defence Force, National Police Service, Kenya Wildlife Service, etc., to go to that location and begin to rescue people who were supposed to have been injured or killed in that demonstration exercise. I would like to say that that exercise was a huge success. In fact, it was the first in this part of Africa, in East and Central Africa. Kenya was the first to do an actual search and rescue demo exercise.
So this system, from where I started as the director in charge of air navigation services and the agency for search and rescue, gives me an assurance that we have the right capacity to handle this responsibility.
Previously, we were relying on experienced air traffic controllers to provide search and rescue as and when required, to the point that the Rescue Coordination Center was not being manned and could only be manned as and when there is need for search and rescue.
It was completely manual, that you get the information and pick an aeronautical chart and start plotting using the intended route of the aircraft.
And so there was vital time lost in terms of predictability and what is required as far as the rescue of that particular aircraft and its occupants is concerned.
But now, emergency locator transmitter, it is mandatory to be carried in an aircraft. It sends the message to the mission control, then the mission control sends that message to the RCC that is concerned.
I would therefore like to assure the flying public that air navigation services will not only ensure expeditious flow of air traffic within the Kenyan airspace, but will be with you in the worst case scenario where our services for aeronautical search and rescue are required to save your life.
This search and rescue unit is manned 24 hours at the moment, and there is always somebody here to attend to such issues.
The future plan for Kenya is to create a search and rescue organization, SARO. And the purpose of this organization is to have a multi-agency team from all the stakeholders that I have mentioned come together under one organization known as the Search and Rescue Organization, or whatever name it will be given. We would therefore join together, get equipment through independent funding that will allow search and rescue to happen much faster, efficiently and safer than it is today. Maybe even do a rescue before lives are lost. And even where lives are lost, at least be able to retrieve such wreckages much faster than currently happening today. So at Kcaa, we're proud of that possibility and we're very excited. And we're at the forefront in leading that engagement to create the search and rescue organization in this country.